So, as I said, blank page to published book. And we know that we're in the right place because we may be an entrepreneur, a visionary, a change maker, and I'm here to help you share your message with the world. So, I'd like to ask you, what do you think these three people have in common? Some of you may obviously know Oprah, John Gray, who wrote the famous book Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, and Tony Robbins. Well, yeah, they're all famous, but what else do they have in common? They have in common a book, but not just a book. They knew how to leverage a book so that the book was doing some work for them. They didn't just write a book, they thought about what else they could do with it. So Anthony Robbins does seminars, and John Gray's got Mars Venus coaches, and he does speaks from stage. And Oprah, we all know Oprah, she does so much on the stage and on TV, and even ran her own shows. So really, these people knew how to leverage a book, not just write a book, but they did have to write it first. And the problem is that 97% of aspiring authors actually never write their book. They basically, what that means is out of 1,000 people, you've only got about 30 that complete it. And out of those, just 20% get published. And that's 20% published books out of every, say, 100 completed manuscripts. So you've got to get to that completed manuscript. But stick with me because I'm about to show you some of the traps and the obstacles to get over that so that you can be one of those 3%. So I want you to be educated in this masterclass. I want you to be informed so that you can really get out there and make a difference. Because what if you knew the exact reasons so that you could become one of those published authors? So in the next 50 to 60 minutes, I'm going to take you through an author map from thinking about writing a book all the way through to publishing a book and promoting and prospering. We're going to be joined by Natalie Dean. As you can see, she will be joining us and sharing her knowledge as well. Natalie is our chief editor here at Dean Publishing, and she'll talk to you about how to overcome some of these obstacles and set yourself up for success. We're also going to uncover some of the secrets to creating a commercially viable book that attracts high-ticket clients. See, the problem is a lot of people don't actually think about this until the end, whereas really you've got to plan things out, and it's all about being educated and making some informed decisions. And if you stick with me to the end, we'll give you access to a whole lot of additional information that we don't have time to cover today, but will really help you on this author journey so that you too can have a book in your hand like a lot of these authors and get out there and be proud and shout out that you're an author and share your message and expertise with the world. So very quickly, a little bit about me and why I'm so passionate about helping others is I started in the coaching industry back in about the early 2000s. I know I started with a phone that actually had a cord on the end of it. But the problem back then was people really didn't know what coaching was. And so I not only had the problem of enrolling them to hire me to help them, and at that stage it was around relationships, but I also had to start telling them about coaching. But fast forward to today, coaching is actually, there's so many coaches out there. What we have to do now is stand out from the crowd. But coaching is also in demand. People are more interested in investing in themselves and investing in others that may have been somewhere or have learnt knowledge before them, and they're learning off, just like we say with Tony Robbins, learning off somebody that's overcome certain things or has that knowledge and expertise to help us. So this is me, yep, baby face with John Gray over 20 years ago now. Look at those baby faces. And during this time, I trained in multiple modalities and built up a successful coaching business. And I started to help other coaches publish their book because John Gray had built an empire from a book, and I had written my story in a book, and it made it so much easier for me to connect with the readers that I thought I needed to start helping others do the same. Fast forward to today, I have this amazing publishing house in the Macedon Ranges where I get to help others and bring potential authors out to really help them on their road to success. And I've built an amazing team. I even went on to publish one of John Gray's books with him and some of his other coaches, and we launched that in Vegas. And one thing that John pulled me aside and said is, Susan, I don't really enjoy the writing process that much, but I've just been offered $1 million advance. So what do you think? I think I better sit down and start getting to work. So don't underestimate your first book. A lot of people say, well, I've got my first book. It doesn't really matter, but it does because you never know. His book is still on the shelf today. And of course, I've built an amazing team, and the team are experts in their field because don't look at my grammar and spelling. It's really about building a team. So I could do what I love most in coaching people and helping them look at what. Then I built an amazing team of editors and designers that were experts in the publishing arena. We have also helped many people get Amazon bestsellers, and we've also partnered with some great partners in the industry, which are Simon and Schuster and print on demands like Amazon and Ingram Spark. And the reason that we've built these partnerships is because of the quality and the high quality that we deliver. We've also worked with some authors like Michael McQueen, who's up to his 10th book. We've worked with Anthea, who was very new to this area, and she grew her Instagram from 4,000 to 167,000 and growing. And she's already sold out of a lot of books, and we just keep printing them and sending them out. So there's lots of these expertise that people share also, which is other authors to help you on your journey. And of course, we've got some authors that started with us that have now been picked up by Penguin and some other major publishers as well, and Simon and Schuster. And of course, our authors have been on Channel 7 and Sunrise and all of this amazing media to really get out there and share their story. However, what I wanted to talk to potential or aspiring authors is that we really need to look at some of the costly mistakes. We get books land on our desk all the time, or people that have really spent a lot of money and they've had some really costly mistakes that with knowledge and education, they could have saved themselves that money and invested it maybe elsewhere that would have been more advantageous to them. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pass you on to our amazing chief editor, Natalie, and she's going to cover some of these obstacles that you can learn from and overcome so you don't make these costly mistakes. So welcome, Nat. I'm going to mute myself so that they can hear from all of your amazing knowledge. You have to unmute, Nat.
Yes, I just did. So I just wanted to wait to make sure that we didn't overlap. But thank you. Yeah, talking about author obstacles is a big one. I mean, there's so much to publishing, but overcoming the obstacles is one of the first things to do because they do pop up. And working with authors every day for over a decade or more now has revealed to me some major obstacles. Now, we can't go into them all, of course, tonight. So I've cherry-picked some of the most common ones, and I'd love to share them with you. The first ones, as you can see on the screen, are what I call the invisible monsters. And you can't see them, but they're lurking around in the basement of your mind and keeping you from your dreams. Obviously, procrastination, perfectionism, limiting beliefs. And as an aspiring author, I can guarantee, and you probably already have faced them, perhaps already, But I can guarantee that you will fight one of these monsters at one time or another. I certainly have, and I certainly still do. And procrastination, in its definition, is the act of delaying or putting off tasks. Now, research shows that it's not just a time management problem, it's actually a failure in self-regulation. And there are two main types of procrastination. One is passive procrastination, where people delay a task because they have trouble making decisions and have trouble acting on those decisions. And the other one is active procrastination. And that's where you may delay a task purposefully because you feel that you like to work under pressure because that gives you a sense of feeling challenged or motivated, and you need to cram it in and do it at the last minute. But either way, whichever way that you skin it, procrastination is designed to prevent you from achieving your best. It is an obstacle that gets in the way. And same as perfectionism, though they're very different, they are equally another obstacle. So people that have perfectionism, they hold themselves to impossibly high standards. And whatever they do or whatever they produce, they feel is never good enough. And that can lead to a paralysis. Perfectionism does paralyze, and I can certainly relate to that one myself. It's something that I have been challenged by. And limiting beliefs, of course, it affects us all to some degree, but I've noticed over the years that limiting beliefs can actually prevent someone from starting or finishing the book. It can come up in the process, and those limiting beliefs can be, I'm not good enough. I'm not a writer. Who am I to write a book? Maybe no one will read it. A lot of these scary thoughts come up, and they're very common, but they shouldn't prevent you from living your dreams and being an author. And when you think about it more deeply, like, well, what does this cost? Keeping these aspects, perfectionism, procrastination, what is it costing you? And just looking at it here, well, it prevents you from your potential. It keeps you in that vicious cycle of frustration and always striving but never arriving, delaying your dreams. It wastes your time. Obviously, there's a lot of missed opportunities that can occur. It reduces your impact and your authority. And naturally, that in itself limits your ability to generate income and influence. So allowing those limiting beliefs or waiting for that perfect time never really happens. And one of my favorite authors, Stephen Pressfield, says that sometimes you just have to put your ass where your heart is. And that is, you just got to sit down and do the work. And procrastination, limiting beliefs, they may be there, but we must pursue our dreams nevertheless. And one of our amazing authors, the bucket list guy, Trav Bell, we're about to show you a very short video of him because he knows all about the art of overcoming procrastination and missed opportunities.
Stories into this. Sorry, I just realised because I was on mute, they might not have heard him. So let's play that again.
Writing a book has been on my bucket list for a long time. I'm embarrassed to say that because I'm an action man, but I procrastinated, perfectionism, all that sort of thing. For the first few years of me being the bucket list guy, I've been running around the world spreading the message via the stage. I've had so many people go, where's your book? I want to buy your book. Now, finally, I've put a compilation of my own stories into this book, and it's taken me 10 years to get it to print. It's called the My Bucket List Blueprint. It's to help people live a more meaningful, more purposeful, and more fulfilled life. I hope people read this book and then start to really live their bucket list before it's too late, before they get given a use-by date. What I love about
So we'll move on to the next one. And Nat, take away the second one that you know is one of the author obstacles.
Yeah, thanks, Suze. And rest assured, you don't have to wait 10 years to have a book in your hands. The second obstacle is naturally something that would occur, and that is the inexperience and lack of knowledge. And especially when you're not in your own industry, that is something that can lead to costly mistakes. And it's really super common. I've seen this a lot because you don't know what you don't know. The publishing industry can be complicated and confusing, and it can be tough to navigate it on your own. So it's the same reason why I would hire a professional plumber or an expert to do my tax, because if you give it to me, well, it's not my thing, and I'm going to make some wrong decisions and probably cost myself a lot more money in the long run. So this is just a very common obstacle I see a lot. And I love Reddide's quote where he said that if you think it's expensive to hire a professional, wait until you hire an amateur. And we see this a lot in the publishing industry because most people think that there's not much involved in producing a book. It's common thought to be, well, how hard can it be? You write and you get a cover and then you format it and print it and sell it and voila, there's a book and we're going to bang it on Amazon. And that can happen. But to write a professional book that has commercial appeal, well, that's a whole other ball game. And being in the industry for quite some time, this is just a snapshot on the screen of what it actually takes to professionally publish a book. And I'm not trying to make it sound so difficult. It's just that these are the steps if you want to do it right. And the most common pitfalls that I've seen, I sort of cherry picked 5 top ones. And that would be the costly mistakes that I see would be a poor book structure where there's no strong structure or flow, an amateur cover design. They're very obvious to pick. You've probably seen a few yourself. No cut through, sort of commercial cut through on a title or subtitle. And plagiarism is another thing that can be unintentional, but it's very common. People don't understand the nature of that, who they can quote, who they can't quote, and why. And also the lack of marketing. You may have a book, but now it's about getting it out there to the masses. And most people don't know these rules that are around commercial publishing and things like copyright, plagiarism, defamation, distribution, and also the standards that apply to editing. There is a particular editing style guides that are used in publishing. And of course, today in the digital world, it's a different world. We're going to think about SEO and keywords and the metadata that goes into the distribution network so people can find and see your book. So nowadays, sure, anybody can publish a book on Amazon, but can they publish a book with traction? Can they professionally elevate their brand? And can you get your book into the bookstore? Can you get the reach that's required to reach the masses? And we're about to show you another video of a wonderful author of ours, Erica Kramer, the Queen of Confidence. And she's going to share a little bit about this and her author journey.
That we need to know is what we can do and what we can't do, what we're really good at and what we may not be great at. For me, the editing, for me, understanding all of my thoughts and getting them together into one thing. For me, the promotion and then making it into an EPUB. I didn't even know what that was. And just understanding the different platforms and how this book can become a success, because it's not just your book, it's your story, it's your business. It's something that's so much bigger. One of the biggest things that really got me to working with Dean Publishing was the plagiarism. I did my best to make sure that I quoted the right people and that I added people that I admire and looked up to in my book. But one of the scary things when you're writing is you don't know if you own that quote or who's it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Natalie, I know when you worked with Erica, there was some work in there that was unintentional, but it was owned by Hay House or it was owned by another author. And we were able to save some really scary things with a book where maybe you have to get the whole thing pulled back off print, and maybe you have to share some of the income because you've used someone else's work. So you need to be very careful. And especially for someone like Erica, who's now gone on to sell nearly 20,000 books. That would have been a shame had she not worked with some professionals to be able to work that out.
Yeah, that's right, Suze. And now we're going to go on to the third author obstacle. And I'm going to hand it back again to you, Sue. I think this being marketing is really your thing. So yeah, over to you, Suze.
Perfect. So the obstacle number 3 that we wanted to highlight was that it's not maximizing and marketing the books to its fullest potential. I see this happen so much. People aren't really looking at, well, what do we want the book to do at the end? And are we planning for that with the knowledge that we have? So as Erica said, a book is not just a book. It's something much bigger. Many authors focus solely on the writing and the publishing and neglect the marketing. They assume the book will sell itself and that it leads then to like low sales or limited reach. So it's really important to not miss this opportunity. So without looking at the best distribution options for you, not all options are the best for you. Each author is individual. Just because traditional publishing or getting into a bookstore might be something you think is exciting, you've also got to think, is that the right way for you? So it's about having great content, of course, but it's to allow the book to communicate your message, connect with your audience, and ultimately convert. So this is when the book does the sales and marketing for you. And I know for me, that was a fact in coaching and growing my coaching business. Sometimes you've got a couple of seconds with somebody, but if they can read your story and connect with you, it can really help in growing your business. Now we've got another one from Erica here.
This is something that if a client can't work with me or they can't pay my fees or I can't go to travel in their country, they can pick up my book and they can read it and change their lives. And it's more likely that if they read my book and my content, that they're then going to look for me and connect with me.
So as Erica said, it's about them reading the book and they'll connect with you anyway if they really resonate with that book. And that's why it's important to write the book for your key target market. It's not about you, it's about the reader. What's the reader going to get out of the book? So I want that to be noted down. It's about the reader. What's the reader going to get out of this? A lot of people look at, I just want to tell my story, but it's about definitely weaving in your story, and that can be done many different ways. But always think, what's the reader going to get out of it? What's in it for them? There's also 55 other ways, and the team will share this all with you, of other ways that you can really promote you and your business, because you can get on podcasts. Podcasters love new authors. Media, so many other ways to dominate your industry and generate income from a book. Now, as Natalie said before, there's different distribution options, and it's about finding the right one for you. Plus, you need to look at things like metadata that you use, because once you've put this in, you can be seen out into the world, because most people pick general categories for their book. It might be business or self-help, but you're actually better off picking subcategories, because it allows you to get down to that niche a little bit more and be seen and not be in such a large category. There's also so much jargon out there in the back end of distribution that some people just skip fields and leave them blank, but they don't realize that a lot of this metadata that you use, like keyword searches and categories, can really help people find your book a lot easier. The other thing is, if you are wanting to go down that traditional publishing path, that, you know, there's huge percentage, I think noted around 95% or more of manuscripts that are sent to publishing agents are below the standard to publish, Many submissions have key mistakes in the use of spelling and grammar, or they have general issues with the structure. It's not flowing. The content itself isn't good enough. Now, to get to a traditional publisher, you will need a literary agent to actually present your idea to them. But basically what people don't understand as well is that you still need to write this book yourself. So you've still got to be able to get over those obstacles and get this book out there. Now, we've also got self-publishing now, and with the world of Amazon, it's completely changed the game, because with Amazon now, like Nat said, yes, anyone can put a book up there. But the point is that readers are now getting a little bit skeptical to what book they buy, because it is so easy that they want to make sure that a book is, written well, and you can tell by a cover sometimes, and you think, well, if the cover hasn't landed, what's the content going to be like? And if it looks a bit self-publishing, sometimes it can scream, maybe this has been done on the cheap, and that a lot of effort hasn't been put in. So it's very important that if you are self-publishing, and we say self-publishing is hugely beneficial and really the way to go, but you just still need to make sure that you are doing it of traditional publishing standard. So the benefits with self-publishing is you have all creative rights. You can do so much with the book to really grow your business. But, we've also got to be aware that there is fewer and fewer physical bookstores out there, and that we need to know how to sell the books online and feed them into what it is that you also want to grow in your business, or how else you want to help people. I mean, people put their absolute heart and souls into a book. Nobody starts out a book to say, I just want to throw something together. Well, I'd hope not, but people are putting their hearts and souls. There's a lot of work and effort that goes into a book. So it just breaks my heart when we end up with these books that, without knowledge and education, people just aren't getting the outcomes that they want after putting in all that work. And it's just because they didn't have that knowledge or that support or expertise. And this, of course, made me really frustrated. And I wanted to make sure there was a better way. There had to be a better way. Now, we wanted to work one-to-one with every author, but of course the teams only got so much time. And I thought, what can I do that will pull all my knowledge together, all my knowledge of becoming a coach and a speaker and how I grew the business, and other speakers sharing how did they get to become where they are. We've got people like Michael McQueen that speaks all around the world. He is an expert in his field and gets called into Channel 7 all the time as an expert. We've got other people that are writing books that they just have such a passion to want to make a difference in mental health, and they're learning to get up on the stage and overcome their fears with their books because they know the difference that they want to make. And so I wanted to pull the knowledge of coaching and speaking and training and my editors that have been in this industry for such a long time, and the designers that aren't just graphic designers that create logos, they're publishing designers, which are very, very different. And I just thought people needed to know all of this knowledge. So I looked at this concept of blank page to published author and all of the problems that we talked about, overcoming imposter syndrome and knowing how to do all these plagiarisms. And I hope you've all been taking lots of notes about simple things like it's about the reader and making sure that you're getting the quality of the book and putting that effort in, because you could be like John Gray, never know if your book's going to be out there still in decades to come for readers. And it's really that legacy that you leave in the world. So remember that your book represents you and represents your business. So do it well. I then decided that supported self-publishing would really help people move through what they needed to move through and learn all of these, supporting them with education, supporting them with people that have been where maybe you want to go. Is it speaking on stages around the world? Is it speaking to men or women or to groups of people in a niche area that you just want to make a difference with? Learning from not only experts in publishing, but learning from people that have been where you want to go. And so I created the stress-free book system. And this was to guide authors through all these steps. And so when we talk about publishing, these are the steps that I want to go through from blank page to successful author includes these steps of proceeding. And proceeding is that overcoming that, oh my gosh, who's going to read my book? We get that a lot. I'm like, and then when they create these books, we're like, oh my God, this book, so many people are going to benefit from this book. Or they'll say different obstacles that stop them from proceeding. Proceeding is making that decision that you're going to do it. You don't know how it's going to happen. And sometimes we do that in life. We jump into something and we just proceed. But that's where the rubber hits the road. We make that decision and then we just get through each step of the way. So we've got a proceed section to really, once people jump in, we'll help them through those starting things that kind of stop them in their tracks. We then go on to plan. And we talk about planning and preparing. And I'm going to go through these in little areas in a moment so that you can see how many things are under each section that can really help you create this professionally published book. So proceed, plan, prepare, getting everything ready to then produce it. Then we've got pre-publish, publish. There's so many steps before you publish. And then there's so many steps that are so important afterwards, which is promoting, prospering, and then extra resources. So the great thing about self-publishing is that you keep 100% of the profits and you get to grow your database. And we're going to talk about how you can do that. So here's a little tip for you. When looking at your cover, and we talked about how important the cover is, and the reason is that's the first thing that people see. They are drawn in by the cover, and if it draws them in and it speaks to them, they'll turn it around and read the back blurb. So the first thing is you've got 3 seconds to grab their attention. So don't take this cover lightly. Put the effort into it. You can actually do a Google search on Pinterest for Dean Publishing and have a look at our Pinterest board. Later on, just look up Dean Publishing and you'll see there on our Pinterest board some things, different types of covers. There's covers that are the minimal look, so they're a very clean look. And then there's abstract, and then there's some books that have got the author on the cover. And then there's some books that have just really captured an image that speaks to the reader about what's in the book. Remember, this is your real estate that's so important to really capture people in the beginning. So there's a little tip for you to go over and have a look at our Pinterest, but go and start your own Pinterest board. So what that means is when you're out and about and you're going to a bookshop, start taking some photos of maybe some books that you like, and maybe even make notes of the covers that you don't necessarily like. Look at your branding, and maybe if you want the book to be on brand, like KX Pilates, we made sure that the book was on brand with his colors. And also go and have a look in the categories of the book that you want to write in. So who are you writing to? Research some of the categories and take some photos and see what other people have done when they're writing a book in your particular area. Is it in finance? Is it in autobiography type? Is it helping people overcome some adversity? Look for it, take some photos, and start your own Pinterest board. Now, here's Jim as he shares a little bit about what he did with his book so that it can resonate with you to understand that it doesn't matter what your story is or your knowledge is. Jim runs a very successful coaching business, and he shared with me just recently how much he has attracted new clients and grown his business since this testimonial. So let's hear from Jim.
I wanted to write a book because of my own story. I went through drug addiction, partying constantly, really unresourceful habits, all because of the corporate rat race that I was in. So through my own journey, I was able to find a much better path to get to where I want to be. And I not only wanted to share my story to help others, but I also wanted to give people the steps they needed to overcome what I did faster. Working with Dean Publishing has been probably one of the easiest processes I've ever been through. I've written books before or attempted to write books before and fallen over. The fact that I had not only people to support me with the book cover, but a ghostwriter there who actually took my words and turned them into a book meant that I wasn't having to sit at my desk all the time writing. I knew I wanted to write a book and get my story out there, but Dean Publishing helped me make that process happen so much quicker. They've obviously done this before. They know the pattern, they know the process, and they are experts in their industry. It was really fantastic to have all of these team members come together when it comes to getting your book cover right, making sure the structure of the book is correct, the paper size and font, the PR, all of that stuff Dean Publishing helps you with. So it just makes the process so much easier. I can't wait to see my audience grow. I think that's one of the biggest things that I've seen with book publishing is that the book becomes not only a way to tell my story, but also a fantastic way to attract an audience and build my business faster.
And like I said, I'm proud to say that he definitely achieved that. Here's another one of our authors.
There would have been many challenges as I embarked on this journey through publishing, through even writing. Just the support that was needed along the entire way is something that has been second to none with Susan and her team.
And I just wanted to share one more quick one from one of our next authors who we not only helped to write a book, and we talk about this where you can expand by taking your book and turning it into a workbook or turning it into quote cards or journals and different things like that, that we can't cover all of this today, but start thinking more than just a book to building your business.
Working with Dean Publishing has honestly been a dream. The team are just so committed to helping you at every step of the way. No question I had was never left unanswered. I just felt completely supported the whole way through. And as this was my first book and my first publishing experience, Susan had this way of kind of diving in and really seeing who I was as an individual and what my gifts and what my skill sets were that could really make this more than just a book. We worked together to create a teaching resource pack, which then became a huge part and expansion of what was going to just be a children's book. It became so much.
So Sky was doing some courses, and she works with youth and does so much. So we really created a workbook, and many of our authors have done that. So start thinking outside the square that there's a book and that you could be pulling some workbooks along as well. And now I get a lot of people say it's so expensive to write a book. It costs so much if you want to do it well. But I think that a book is an investment in your business, and it's a strategic tool to drive long-term growth. So what you put in not just money, but in time, in research, in effort, in going and getting that Pinterest board going and really thinking about your cover and categories and things like that, all go in to that investment of your time and money to make sure it's a good book. Because the thing is that if you are going to write a book, make sure that it is done well, or it could be more detrimental than good to you and your business. And a lot of people might say, I don't have the time to write a book. Well, the great thing is too that you can talk out your book. I know for me, I'd write parts, I'd talk parts out. And with the great technology that's out there now, we can talk out some parts and have it transcribed for us so that we're starting to tweak then our written words. So there's so much that you can do that if you say, I don't have time, there's things that you could do to speed that up with voice to text and different transcriptions now, especially with AI out there. There's so much that you can do, but it's really about getting the structure right first so that you know what to talk into, so that you're not just talking all over the place or writing all over the place. The structure is so very important to really set you up powerfully for success. And a lot of people say, I don't want a garage full of books. How am I going to get these books out there? And a lot of that too is now changed through print on demand. So there's lots of new and innovative ways with publishing that's just growing and growing. We've got some people coming out from the UK next month to talk about how the publishing industry in the print on demand is going to go to another level to help business owners. So we're really excited about being able to share that when that becomes our reality. But we don't want you to end up with a garage full of books. So we look at projections and things that can actually help you with that. So with the stress-free book system, I wanted to just quickly go over this for the next couple of minutes to show people that if they did want some help with knowing how to go through all of these steps and know that the investment of having a professional publishing team to support them is something that can definitely help you get to that professionally published book. So in our modules, as you can see here, some of the bullet points here that we obviously can't cover everything here, but in our portal, we go through the welcome when you proceed and all of the maps and things that you need to set yourself up. So there's things like accountability and setting some timelines in advance for your launch so that you can start thinking about what place you would like to launch your book with. Do you want to do an author launch party with your book? And then we go through everything about overcoming some of these obstacles in Proceed, the imposter syndrome, and some really great knowledge from our experts on how to overcome that. And then, of course, how to gather information, how to research, finding inspiration when we get to those writer's blocks. And planning, we talk about how do you define your avatar? How do you make sure that you're writing the book to the right person that's going to build your audience? And we talk about creating successful writing habits. Publishing, we talk about distribution options, but in a lot more detail so that you can really make an informed decision. We talk about Amazon Kindle, keyword searching, how to become a best-selling author. We talk about in Promote, creating book trailers, launching your book, marketing plans, extensive marketing plans, PR and marketing, and how to build partnerships and ways to sell your book. And then, of course, prospering. How do you add audio books and funnels so that they're leading into your funnels to slowly nurture them to the next step. And then, of course, maybe you want to go on like Sky and some of our other authors and create some workbooks and cards. And how do you do that where you've got these bumps to be able to really start automating this so that you're creating a really great funnel to lead them into your other products and services. And then, of course, we've got prepare, produce, pre-publish, all of those sections that are in between that before you get to promote and prosper. And what I found was really important was to ensure that people had access to the team, because it's all and well to have an online course and to go through and leverage some time to save some authors some costs. And we do work one-on-one with authors, but some people have a little bit more time and a little less money to invest, and they'd rather invest in maybe doing some workbooks and things like that. Or they want to stage their investment because they're building up their business. And so we wanted everyone to have the knowledge, which we've got in our portal, but we wanted you to be able to have access to the team if you got stuck or you had questions. So you get access to the team where we jump on live and answer questions. You get a done for you book cover, because as I said, the book cover is so important that it's really important that you get it done for you. So my team is going to do it for you. We're going to go through a design brief and ensure that we meet all those standards and guidelines that you need. And then for those that join us, we're going to throw in an accommodation voucher where you can take off somewhere and do some writing in the comfort of a hotel room somewhere outside of your state, away from all the kids and family and focus. And there's some great opportunities for that as well. And then we've got up-to-date fresh content that we add all the time into the portals. We've got your book author journey map. We've got Canva templates that you can download for all your socials and Instagram and just slot in your book cover, which we'll design for you and make it easy for you to drag and drop. We've got fortnightly expert sessions from other coaches and other experts in PR and marketing. And of course, like I said, the Q&A that you can jump on 24/7 into the portal, but if you want to jump on live and get a few questions answered. And then we've got the author community that's there. Everyone's supporting each other along the way. And then if you do get stuck and you don't want to do something yourself and you want the expert team to actually come in and do an edit for you, or go through and do something that might need some specialist expertise, then you can jump out, and for some small additional services cost, you can actually access my top team that will usually work one-to-one with authors. And as we always like a special when we're launching something that's so incredible, that's taken me years to pull together, the most important thing is setting yourself up powerfully. So for those that jump on and join us now on this launch, you're going to get a call one-to-one with me, and I'm going to look at where your business is now and where you want it to go, and really give you some tips around how you build your business from a book. You're then going to work with Natalie, our chief editor, who you saw and who has helped all of our authors that you can see on the back here, and they go right around my wall, to help structure a book. And if there's anything that you need to set yourself up powerfully for a book, it's the structure. So the first 5 people that sign up tonight are also going to get a little gift in a pack as well, and that's just to get you going. So if you want to jump on now, we're going to give you that link through that can actually get you into our course straight away and get started so that you can become a published author in 2025. Now, as I said, the book mapping and working with Natalie is over $2,000 alone, and it's going to give you that major head start to really getting your book going, and then go through all of our course as well. And I want you to think like an entrepreneur, because if you just sold 250 books at $24.95, there's 6,250. If you sold some ebooks, 50 of those, there's another 500. If you sold some audiobooks, if you decide to go on later and do those, if you upsold additional products, you could be up for 10,000 on those low numbers alone. But then you can start thinking about giving away some books if your business is at the stage where you want to give away some books to generate leads because you know that you've got a $2,000 program to sell them to. Or maybe you've given a talk and you want to sell some books at the back of the room, or give away a chapter of your book to get them into your funnel. There's free media. Getting on other people's podcasts and things like that can really draw people in. But if your leads converted, which is how I used my book, into clients, where I had a $2,000 program right back when I started with coaching, and I sold more than 20, but I've kept the numbers down. There's 40,000. So we're talking about paid speaking gigs, 3,000 to 5,000. Just think like an entrepreneur. You could be earning 50,000 plus. So I know that we've only got a couple of minutes now available. And I know that a few people sent in some questions, and those questions we want to answer to make sure that we give those people that took the time to send in these questions. But if you've got any questions, we can grab those and answer them as soon as we've gone through the first couple that we've kind of compiled together in these answers. So one of them was, what if I'm not like the John Gray and the Anthony Robbins and I'm famous? What if I'm not out there on Instagram and I've got a lot of followings and I'm kind of just starting out and I'm not well known? What would be the best way? The great thing that I love about this question, and what's a lot of authors that have come in at that really start, they're actually starting their business as they're writing their book, was that the book helped their business grow and it helped them get the confidence. I remember Anthea came out, and when she had finished her book and then was reading through her book, she said, I am so confident. I mean, I was confident before, but my confidence has gone through the roof. I just want to spruik this book because it's so great. And the good thing is that it gives you content as you're going. Bring the reader along the journey. So even if you haven't got many people on socials, the great way to start is say, hey, I'm writing a book. People are, even if you've got a couple of people and, hey, I've been writing chapter 1 and I'm now writing chapter 2. Bring people along the journey. You'll be surprised on how you start to grow your followings and grow the audience as you start to release your book later on. You're starting to grow your business and audience as you go. And as far as distribution, like I said, print on demand, funneling them in, giving them some tips. Another tip is get a QR code and put it in your book. That might lead them in. If they pick up a book or are gifted a book, they can QR that code and maybe come in and find out about something else. Bring them to your website, have an opt-in, things like that. Now, I know we've got a question here. I'm not sure, Dipal, if you've got any question here that you want to answer, you want answered live. You can type your answer in here. If you would like to come live, I can bring you on and we can answer that live. And what's some of the other questions that you've had, that, Natalie, that you find that really question that someone asks in relation to working with us or publishing a book?
I guess a lot of people worry about, will I have readers? They've got a message to share and they're worried about, will someone find my book interesting? Because when it's your own story, quite often you kind of, you know it, you've lived it, and it's very hard to have that type of perception where people, or will people find it interesting. And what's really fascinating about that is that the story bonds us. Hearing other people's story, it's so much more fascinating than living sometimes your own story, because you know it so well. So quite often we suggest, I know you've said this before, Sue, to jump on other people's podcasts. You don't have to have a book ready. You can have it in process. You can have a cover ready and get on other people's podcasts and start to learn how to communicate your story, what people are interested in, and get that feedback. I think that a book's fantastic, but jump on podcasts. You just need a book cover sometimes and say it's coming out, it's launching, and start the conversation, get the narrative happening, and you'll probably grow in confidence as you get that traction.
Yeah, beautiful. I love that. And we've got, yes, we will be sharing that link through. We can share that with everybody and link that through. And I think Dipal had a question. So I'm going to just see if we can allow to talk. There you go. Would you like to
Hi,
ask?
Susan.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, thanks. Do you have a question for us?
Yes, please. I have a question. Like, I need a constant help with the writing as well, because what happens is sometimes, like, when we write a thing and the continuity or the like, we find the structure thing, or sometimes we need a help with the like how it should be the actual writing when we publish a book, right? And I have 3 more questions actually. So, can I go one by one, or can I ask you all together?
just, yeah, quickly ask all together because I'm just a bit,
Okay.
what we can do also is if you want a little bit more detail, what I think would be great is if anyone wants to jump off and have a call one-on-one with me, you can just go to deanpublishing.com and click on speak with an expert, and I will be answering everyone's calls one-to-one. And that's an opportunity for everyone to ask a few questions, only because we've got the limited time now. And I know that I've got the link here that I'm going to make sure everybody that is here will get that. But I'm just going to put this in the chat now. That's the link to find out more. And basically, I'll just have a look here. And then what we'll do is answer all of your questions one-to-one. Do you have some time to do that, Tapal?
Yes, I have.
Fantastic. So what I'll do is I'll give me one of your questions and we'll answer that now.
Okay, I would like to publish it professionally, like where everyone, like where the bestsellers like do that. I want it that way,
Yeah.
and I need your throughout help for that.
100%. That's exactly what we do. So
Yeah.
I am going to put the link up now. I'm just going to mute you, Depal, and I'm going to send a link through. Jump onto deanpublishing.com and you can go on to the actual speak to an expert, and basically that will come through to me. So I know that there might be more questions, but I wanted to cover as much as I could. And so what you'll do is I want you to know that we want you to have a book in your hand. We want you to imagine yourself out there feeling more confident and feeling more secure in everything you do. Because you've written a book, it grows your expertise. It's leaving a legacy with the world, and it expands your reach and creates that passive income. And I just want everyone to be able to have that opportunity. And that's why creating your cover, getting your structure set up really well, and then getting you to go and do as much as you can yourself while you've got the support of the team is what I want to see everyone with a book in their hand. And so with the stress-free book system, you will see that you'll be able to go through to this link. So I think that no link posted in the chat. Okay, I'm going to double check this for a moment and I will get this through to everyone. I'll just put it in the participants. Let me go across to attendees. I'm sorry, I did it to panelists. There you go, to everyone. So you will see that the screen itself will come up like this, and you will be able to get a sneak peek into the system, but you can actually just go to stressfreebooksystem.com, and that will allow you to have a look at all of what's on offer. So stressfreebooksystem.com, and you will be able to get in and have a look. If you want to have a look at a little bit of a sneak peek, the link is there too. But if you want to have a look at joining so that you can take advantage of working one-on-one with me, one-on-one with Natalie, to set you up powerfully and get all those bonuses, it must be done soon. It must be done prior to Monday to get all those bonuses. So it really sets you up powerfully to really get out there and get moving. And it's one-on-one. We're going to brainstorm exactly what you need so that you can hit the ground running. So again, I'm going to put the links in to the chat with everybody. It is, and we'll also email these out to you as well. But if you go to the link here for speaking with me, there's the link for if you want to chat with me directly and you've got some other questions that you really want answered before you make a decision. And then if you go, I'm in, I already know I want to publish a book, I want to hold a book in my hand next year, then the link there, stressfreebooksystem.com, allows you to just jump in, be one of those first 5, be one of those ones that gets to work one-on-one with me and Natalie to set you up powerfully. And as I said, you get your book cover done for you. Then jump on now and join us. And if not, jump on and have a call with me if you're not sure and you've got additional questions. Or if you want a little sneak peek, there's a link there as well for you to have a sneak peek around. It just gives you the overall, it doesn't give you all the detail, but you can see the quality of the information supplied. So thank you so much. I know that we've gone a touch over. Thank you so much, Natalie, for sharing your expertise with everyone. And we thank you all for taking your time out to share it with us as we share our knowledge with you as well. Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.